For every person found alive more than 100 hours after the earthquakes, there are thousands now desperate to stay alive. Individuals without families, families with little food, and no shelter in the cold weather in one town after another. What will happen to these people, he says? Will the government look after us or not? We're all staying outdoors now. How will this end? So many buildings have utterly collapsed, and there aren't enough machines to move all the rubble. This man points to the structural damage buildings like his made of concrete, too brittle against the violent movements of an earthquake. This house is uninhabitable, says Bajat Selo. It's fractured. There's no hope.
That kind of devastation spans hundreds of kilometers along the East Anatolian fault line. The first earthquake was the strongest in Turkey in more than 80 years. The second major quake a short time later, followed by dozens of aftershocks. Where the tectonic plates push along the fault line, pressure builds until what's called a strike slip, a sudden horizontal release. On the surface, buildings can pancake that aren't properly reinforced.
Structural engineers say steel reinforcement can deform to keep buildings from instantaneous collapse, but many of Turkey's structures appear to have been largely concrete, although Turkey has building codes very much in line with North American standards.
If they are designing to the code minimum, then they are designed to be heavily damaged, and the building are not supposed to collapse so much. The goal for the building code is providing the minimum safety so people can get out.
In Kahramanmaraş, scores of buildings were reduced to rubble next to buildings that withstood the quake. Critics say too many buildings were not made safe or built properly. The country was unprepared for this, says this opposition leader, despite the government of President Erdogan collecting billions in earthquake taxes, he says. Lucky are the ones receiving food and accommodation in tents. For the moment, the urgency remains finding those who've survived. But the crisis that will persist is shelter, because so many structures have collapsed and so many more still standing cannot be trusted. Eric Sorensen, Global News.